Hi, I'm Peter.
And I'm Kemia.
Welcome to the This and That Chat.
And chat, if you're just joining in now, boy, you've missed a lot.
You're loud, bro.
I can't deal with this right now.
You know what that is? Okay, let's...
Are we in an episode?
Apparently so.
Is that what's happening?
Okay. Do we give a little bit?
Oh, let's catch everybody up on
We're
everything
gonna
that's
catch
been
up.
going
Okay.
on.
So we have had...
We've laughed already so much. The
This
makeup
is-
has had to be redone from
Yes.
the laughter.
This is restart number 7.
I don't even
6.
know. No, I don't know.
5, 6 or 7. Restart number 6 or 7. It has been such a disaster, okay, that we literally stopped everything that we were doing, and I will put a little blooper of what one of them was because I kept it because it was such a disaster.
No.
Yes.
Those must never be heard from again.
They're going to be heard from just this one because I even saved the audio for it. I'm going to, we have it recorded. We're going to use it a little something, just a taste, so they can see what a disaster was. It was such a disaster that we decided we were going to pause,
Leave the room.
leave the room, recalibrate, take a shot of rum. We literally clinked glasses, knocked one back, and said, let's go.
I don't knock it back very well.
We're back. You sipped it for like 4 minutes. The one shot, she was like,
It had no ice.
anyways, we're back. We're here.
We are back an hour and a half later.
No, it wasn't an hour and a half. It wasn't that bad.
It's 12:26.
Yes. Okay.
PM.
Yes. All right. So we're back. We're here. We're doing this. We have done what we've done.
Boy, what they missed.
Yeah, we
They
have a
missed
little bit of it.
ChatGPT, Siri, the allergy attack.
Yeah. Good times. This episode will have.
I don't want this episode to have.
It will have. Anyways, so we are talking about lots of stuff today. Well, first thing that we're going to start to discuss, and I'm going to discuss this right away because I need to discuss it, is how disengaged you are with the chat, which is what started this whole thing today.
Today?
Yes, because
I remember this being a yesterday conversation.
it was yesterday, but it is infiltrated into today, okay? And it's what started this debacle that we had, which has taken 6 or 7
I felt like it was in my way.
6 or 7 starts. So it started with me trying to adjust the camera because we're obviously we're trying to get better, right, as we are going through this, but you don't care as much as I do.
We've had this conversation on a previous chat
I know.
already.
Right. So that's where this whole thing started. So the camera went through 75 different versions of movement
In fact, if someone wanted to, they could create a stop motion animation
of us moving around.
and it would just show didn't we talk about
Yeah.
revolving around the sun?
Yes.
That's what we've done. We've just gone
We've
around.
gone around. So
That'd be
I
actually funny.
I think we're finally getting to a final version of where we're gonna be. But we're working on trying to get there.
Well, because there's things that need to be built and
Yes. So anyways, so that's what started this whole thing. And then when we finally got to where we were gonna get started, we then deviated tremendously into an argument with Siri and ChatGPT because I asked a question about
Wait, we're replaying everything
bloopers.
that happened?
No.
Oh.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Bro, are you serious? Now she's going to talk to me?
She's showing you up. She's showing you up. Wow.
Now I have to share the story.
What do you mean?
No, now I have to say what Okay. This is stupid, bro. It's stupid. Okay. What?
She's always listening. Did
I
you
understand
hear that
that.
there's a lawsuit for Siri right now?
Hold on. This is dumb. We had a great take if she would have answered me. But she refused to answer me. And it created this awkward time. And then now that I don't ask her a question, she answers me.
So you know what's funny is that there have been so many times where Can you silence your phone? I'm scared.
It's silenced.
See, let me check. Make sure I silenced my phone before starting. It's not. Boom. There we go.
It's
All right.
silent.
So listen
Silent.
to this. There's so many times that I'm in the middle, in the very, very middle of doing the exam with the patient, and all of a sudden I will ask a question about, how long has the pain been going on? And all of a sudden Siri will say, I don't know, but I can get you your nearest pain management doctor
From your phone?
from my watch. And it's
listen.
like, to me, it's a little bit, I think that most people understand that your phone is listening and that inadvertently Siri will be triggered from, by something. But I also feel that there's a little bit of, I don't know if some people feel uncomfortable with, is their information not secure anymore because Siri was listening to it?
Listen,
I don't know.
Did you
know?
see? Did you see the video I sent you?
About? Oh,
Dave
that you
Portnoy?
said- That you said
We were
the phone is
we were
listening.
talking about Dave Portnoy at breakfast. Okay, we were talking about the fact that he was divorced from his wife for so many years, and he still gives her access, or she still has access to
his bank account.
his bank account. And that question came up in an interview with goodness, what's this guy's name? Sterling is his last name. Shannon Sharp. It wasn't even Sterling.
Okay.
With Shannon, his brother Sterling Sharp. No, wait, is he Sterling Sharp?
Yes, okay, you're fine.
Is he Shannon Sharp? With Shannon Sharp. His brother's name is Sterling Sharp. Anyways, so he was in an interview with Shannon Sharp, and he asked him that question, so it came up.
Is it true?
Is it true? Anyways, we were talking about it at breakfast. It's been a while since I've seen that video. All of a sudden, I pop open Instagram, and what's one of the first few videos that comes up? Boom. This interview with him about it.
Well, it's the same thing at work. We were talking about gender reveal videos, okay? And we were talking just about how people go through all this trouble to do gender reveals and all this stuff. And I said, have you guys seen the ones that don't go the way they're supposed to, right? For example, I know you've seen it, okay? Have you seen the one where there's a mom going out to the car with a balloon, and her little boy has some sort of sword or a stick or something, and before she gets to the car, he pops it. And she looks at him like, I'm going to kill you. The video cuts. You don't ever get to see even her say anything. She just gives him this death stare.
The mom death stare.
Right? And we were discussing, is it even the kid's fault? Like, why would you allow your kid to have some sort of a device? If this is so important, kids being kids, you can't blame him for what happened, right?
One of my favorite ones.
Hold on.
Oh.
And then, as everybody goes back after lunch to work, one of the girls comes over and says that she opened up Instagram, look at the video that I have playing. It's that same video. That same exact video.
My favorite video for the gender reveal mess ups is the one where the dad is holding a tube, like one of those pop tubes that like shoot the confetti. And he has one and the mom has one, and he's messing around with it, twisting it, and ha ha. Like, I'm gonna pop it. I'm gonna pop it. And she looks at him. She goes like, "You're gonna ruin it." And he's like, "It's closed." And when he goes like this, all of a sudden, a puff of pink smoke comes out of the end of it without him popping it.
Why?
So it must have been like the first little bit of it, and in all the movement and stuff, it loosened up, and just enough of it came out. And she just drops her arms in defeat. You could tell she was just defeated. There's like 50 people around them.
I mean, I'm surprised that the whole gender thing has become such a big deal. That was never a thing when we were having kids. And I'm just
You
thinking.
found out at the doctors. We
And
were
that's
there,
it.
and they would
And
be
you
like,
and you told
"You want
who
to
you
know?
wanted
You
to
want to know
tell?"
if it's a boy or a girl?"
That's it, right?
When I worked at Party City, it was a big thing.
Was it?
All the time, every single weekend, I would be handed an envelope and be like, "Nobody knows. Just go ahead and fill the balloon up with."
So you know what I'm curious about is, do you have a gender reveal party and a baby shower, or is it done at the baby shower? Or is it one or the other?
I think that's just another reason thrown at the party.
I'm curious if anyone out there has had a gender reveal party. Did you have that and a baby shower, or do you choose one? Because I would imagine that people would, but what can you bring? If you don't know what the baby's going to be, what are you going to bring? To me, that's more like everyone's getting together for a barbecue, and at the barbecue, we're going to do a gender reveal.
Possibly.
And then there's going to be
It
a
could
baby
be.
shower,
It
and
could
now
be.
you know to bring me baby girl stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I find it so
I mean, it's to each their own, right?
it's ridiculous to me.
I
It's so much. There's so much stuff that goes into it.
I just feel like it's such a special moment that you have as
The-
a couple,
Yeah.
right? And then now there's the potential for so many things to go bad, and now
The
for
thing
your
is,
moment to be ruined
everything is now
for the gram,
for the gram.
for the
Everything
talk.
is it's on social media. What's the video? What are you putting together? You know,
Speaking of which, yesterday when we were having sushi, and we're there, people watching, right? And we see this couple. Well, you were able to see them more than I was. Have one sushi roll.
yes.
And here, I was thinking, well, maybe they saved all their pennies to come to the sushi place, because it's not
Cheap.
a cheap sushi place,
Sushi's not cheap.
And if
Period.
you find cheap sushi,
Good luck.
I don't think you should be eating it. But
Public
they
sushi
shared,
does not count.
They shared one sushi roll, and I'm thinking maybe they saved all their little pennies to come here and have their sushi roll. And you said not with the kind of car that they pulled up
Nope.
in. Okay,
The dude goes outside and gets into an M3. That's like an $80,000 car. Now, it could be mommy and daddy's car, and he's taking out his girlfriend in it.
it could
But
be.
he didn't seem like he was that young.
But
or
you said that they were taking pictures,
Hold on.
so it
Okay.
could be just to say
that they were
because
there.
this is a hot
It's a-
sushi
it's a hot
place,
spot.
right?
It's a hot
yeah.
spot.
So hey, look, this is what we did on our Saturday night. I don't know, but so many.
And it was in
things.
an area.
Oh my gosh!
And it was in an area where I have told you. So the story about keeping up with the Joneses is there. There's
alive
so
and well there.
much truth in that. So I work in this area predominantly.
Today's coffee, brought to you by Unholy Alliance. Do tell.
Am I finishing my story or telling the coffee?
Tell about the Unholy Alliance.
Oh, okay. So we showed a few weeks back the coffee that we bought from
The
Bones,
Salty Siren.
the Bones Coffee, which is the Salty Siren, and then we bought Holy Cannoli, which is like a sweeter version of it. But we felt like there was a little bit of a miss with the dark roast in it.
The oomph.
So I took the 3 bags. I took a bag of Holy Cannoli, a bag of Salty Siren, and a bag of Major Dickinson's.
We call it Major Dicks.
What is it? Major Dickinson's? Major Dickinson's coffee,
Dark roast.
put them all together, made this mix, and now it is our own blend called the Unholy Alliance.
Which
Which-
has everything you could possibly
Which
want in
will-
your coffee
It will make your hair stand on end.
and other things. Why do you give me that face?
Bro, we're not 9 minutes in.
Energy.
It's 15 minutes in. Anyways, so what was I saying?
You stand at attention.
The Joneses.
Not you, people. Bro. You sure about those 9 minutes?
The Joneses. So I work in this area predominantly, where this restaurant is at. And I know from, not experience. What's the word I'm looking for?
Experience.
Is it experience? I know from experience,
Because you work there.
because I work there, what it actually...
You meant firsthand.
I know firsthand.
Sorry, it just had to give me a minute.
I know firsthand what it actually is like. I have been to homes that have 3 brand new cars parked in the parking lot. And when you open up the front door,
And it's not a Toyota Corolla.
no, we're talking about BMWs, Mercedes, you okay?
Yeah.
BMWs, Mercedes, these vehicles. What are you doing?
Just a little. I felt my lips were a little dry. Continue.
No, everyone, that way everyone pay attention.
Okay. Oh, so smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good?
So much better.
Okay.
Don't be so distracted.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, I've been to the homes where they have brand new cars sitting in the front. BMWs, Mercedes,
M3s.
Range Rovers. Like, we're talking about money, okay? And then you open up their front door because there's no access to the backyard, so you have to go through their yard, through the house to go into their
You've been
yard.
through the
Oh, yeah.
house.
And there's no furniture. There's a fold-out table with
Lawn
some
chairs, you
lawn,
said.
like it's bad, okay? But they're driving these cars that are ridiculous amount of money just so that they can look the part out in the street, but then they don't have anything in the house. Like, I don't know. That's not the way I want to live. If I'm gonna have, we have a nice truck.
It's just,
But
to me,
we
it's
bought
so
we bought that
sad.
truck. We bought that truck at the right time with money saved up to be able to give a good down payment. Like we worked towards getting that. How long was it before we got a brand new car?
I mean, when did we get that? In 2020?
Well, we had the Hyundai was a new car.
2021?
That was like 2019 when we got the Hyundai.
Oh, yeah, the Hyundai. That's right.
That was our first new car.
Wow.
So we're talking
okay.
about what, 19
years
in
of working and saving, just like our house.
Yeah.
2016.
Yeah,
So
and we bought
16 years of working and saving towards that.
Yeah, and we bought the Hyundai new,
Which I love that car.
not wanting to buy a new car, but when we went, they had such a good deal. It was actually cheaper to have the brand new car
Rather than a used
than to
one.
buy the used one.
Yep.
So that was our first new car.
What I
And
was
then we
gonna
were
say
able to-
about
to
the
get the truck.
Joneses that you were saying is that, to me, right, everyone, like, we keep saying that, to each their own, right? But to me, it's just what a sad thing to live your life for other people, right? If you only go to places so that you can take a picture of it and show it off to your people, like, because that's a very popular place. Oh, I was here too. But were you there for you to enjoy it? Would you have gone there for you, or did you go to take a picture? Right?
How many times
Do
have
you
we
have
seen-
all of this so that people can be like, "Whoa, 3 brand new cars," but inside you're suffering.
How many times have we seen, like when we go out somewhere, like the group of friends are miserable sitting together. Like no one's talking to anybody. No one's looking at anybody. No one's like interacting. There's just this like dead energy at this table, and then all of a sudden one's like, oh, let's take a picture, and all of a sudden everyone's got these faces and they're all excited and they're like,
And the drinks.
you know, and the
let's
drinks
do the
and the boom
boomerang.
boom and the whole thing and all this kind of stuff.
And then
The
everybody
picture's
goes
taken
back
and it
to-
goes, ooh.
I know. It's sad. It's sad, but I feel that that really is the reality for a lot of what you see on social media. And like when we were on our cruise, I don't remember if we talked about this, but there was an excursion where people could go swim with pigs, which I find that so disgusting. I mean, I can't.
Listen,
Okay.
the pigs aren't saying, excuse me a second, I'm going to go use the bathroom.
And then are these pigs like, I mean, pigs are dirty animals just as they are. Okay. And you're swimming with them. And one of the comedians we went to go see that night said, who did the pig excursion? And then after a lot of people, they raised their hands and they were saying, you know, I did it. He said, and how many of you did it for the Instagram photo? And it was
He
almost
called it.
everybody, right? And it's like, I don't know. I feel like what we do, there's sometimes that I think, oh, it would have been nice to show the chat, like what we did this weekend and to have like a little recap of all that stuff. But I'm just so not for that, right? So I think you started this by saying that I'm not invested into the chat, which is an old conversation. I don't know how we deviated into cars and all that
Who
stuff.
knows?
But there's things where it's just like, maybe I'm just not a good social media persona. I don't know. Maybe that's just not my thing, right? Because I don't have the desire to put out content. Let's record. Let's make sure that we show everybody. If you have something that you posted that I made, it's because it's going on my channel because I'm doing that for myself, you know?
The thing about it is it's not, and you keep on saying, oh no, it's because you want to be famous or you want to whatever. It's
I'm
not so.
teasing you.
I know, but I'm saying it's not because of that. I think to me, I'm like I have fun sitting down and doing the editing and putting it together and like that's the stuff that I enjoy. That gives me some. It gives me fun. Like
Yeah,
I
it's
enjoy that.
fulfilling for you.
You know,
but I
a
don't
few-
see
a
you
few
running
years-
around trying to make content like a
No.
content creator either.
Well, like when we did a few weeks back where we did the sing along Saturday, that was a genuine moment where we just were coming out of Publix, and
we were jamming.
I was trying to be funny, so I popped the music, I pumped the music up, I dropped the windows, and we started singing out loud, and then I was like, oh, hold on, let's do it with a song. And we actually did it with one song first, and we were like, no, it can't be that one. It's got to be Ain't No Rest for the Wicked. And we switched it, put it in, we recorded it. We had a great time doing it. It took us a whole of like 15 seconds or whatever that we recorded, and we threw it on. That was the end of it. It was no big deal, you know? When we did the one on the cruise where I was like, where all my money goes, and they pointed over to you. It was literally because while we were waiting to get onto the cruise, we saw the video and we're like, oh, how funny would it be if we did this? And it wasn't much editing. It wasn't much. We just did it just really, really quick. So we're not like thinking about what is our next edit, what is
I
our next
wonder if-
video, what is our next thing.
See, to
we're just
me-
trying to have.
To me, I see content creator and podcaster as two separate things. But I wonder if they're the
It's
same,
the same
thing.
thing. It's just
You're
the
just
exact,
creating
it's the
different
exact same
content.
thing. I just feel like we are. I'll be tooting my own horn on this, but like I feel like we're just fun people, and I enjoy sharing
Listening
that.
to you.
Well, I'm just saying, I have fun sharing that with people. Like, when I listen to our podcast, you don't listen to our podcast, right? I listen to our podcast when I listen back to our podcast, I listen to it as a listener. I don't listen to it hearing content. to see, oh, did we mess up? Where did I do? How can we do this better? Blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. I get that feedback from your sister. I get that feedback from other people. When I listen to it, I'm just listening to it to hear the content. Because even though we sit here and we record it, when I go to edit it to put it onto YouTube, I'm not editing what we recorded. What I'm doing is I'm adding the beginning screen, I'm adding the end screen, I'm combining the recorded audio to the video that's being recorded. And that's what I do. And then while I'm listening back to it, or while we're recording it, I'll remember something. There was something really funny that was said, and I'll look over and I'll be like, oh, okay, 25 minutes. And then I'll keep a mental note, and then I'll know when I go back to look for something, I can go and pull that little segment out of it. But I listen to us for the entertainment piece of it.
It's so interesting.
And we don't have a lot of followers. We don't have a lot of listeners, that kind of stuff. I wish there was more, because I wish we could share it with more people. I just think it's really, really fun.
So, speaking of which, there's something that we're going to do this next cruise that we go on that there's 3 options, right? It can either do nothing, it can do something very terrible, or it can do something like what you're wanting, right? And I'm always down for these ideas because I know it means something to you, right? To me, it's neither here nor there.
This was your idea, by the way.
I know, because I'm always trying to think of how do I help you come up with new things, right? But are we talking about the shirt? Because it was your idea for the ducks.
Well, I expanded on your idea.
Okay, so for me, it was just a shirt, right? I wanted to have merchandise for us, right? You have like Theo Vaughn's shirt on right now. All right. This
and
is
his hat.
And his hat. All right. And
gang.
because we went to go see him. And this is sort of the same thing. If you turn the shirt around, there's almost the entire back of the shirt is taken up by the tour of the rat and that whole thing, right? His whole emblem. And then you've got just that little thing up there. So my idea was to do our whole logo in the back of a shirt so that it was the podcast logo, right? And for us to have this and that, and it's like our thing 1 and thing 2 shirt, right? While we're standing in line, people can see it from behind, whatever, right? Your idea was to put it on the like little ducks, because everybody leaves these little ducks all over the ship and you have to be finding them, but for it to have some sort of
like a QR code,
right, for you to go listen to our podcast. Now, I think in such a big space like that, it can either be a good thing or you can get a lot of trolls. Now it can turn nasty. Like, I'm always thinking about, I don't want somebody to come in and ruin what we're doing, because we're doing it again. I'm like tired of saying this, but we're doing this as just everyone else is getting invited to listening to conversations that we're leaving for our kids, right? And it would suck to have somebody come in and cast a shadow.
Look for trouble.
Cast a shadow on it or anything. Thankfully, we've not had any hurtful comments.
Yeah, we haven't had anything negative
mean or anything like that at all. And again, like I don't have the energy to put up or to answer. Like I follow a lot of these couples that they have podcasts or they've got something going on. And they take the time to respond to the ones who give them good messages and the ones who give them bad messages as well, right? And I just don't have the energy for that. To me, it's like...
Well, can we... Okay, so this was a question that actually came up. So talking about the energy to answer back. So I've had a couple questions about this, and you had a question about this.
Okay.
Where the question was, is Peter the one who's answering all the comments, or do you also answer some of those comments? And there are times where I share every comment with you
Yes.
that comes in. So no matter who it's from, if it's one of your sisters, if it's Paul, because he's the one who really does a lot of the interaction with us outside of what is our family. I share all of those different interactions with you, so that what it is.
Yeah.
And then you'll give me a response. Oh, that was nice. Oh, cool. Did you tell him about this or that or whatever? I did that inadvertently.
That's why we named
I know.
it the this and that.
So, so I'm writing a lot of the times on behalf of you in the way that you comment, right? So this past week, we had a podcast that came out on Thursday, and on Friday it was your birthday. On that podcast, we said it was your birthday.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So you had some birthday wishes that came in on the podcast, and I responded to them on your behalf, right? And then you were like,
But then at the same
at
time,
the same
my
time,
sister,
you were like, yeah, your sister asked you the
That.
question.
and I said,
And
I gotta
then,
be better at
You
it.
gotta be better at it, whatever. And while we're driving yesterday to
Peter Pan.
to Peter Pan,
Yeah.
we were on the drive up there, and you said, "Oh, I'm gonna jump on there real quick," and you jump on there and you start answering the same questions that I already answered for you. Okay, to the point where I even responded as the chat with the little facepalm.
Oh,
because
dear.
I'm like.
Oh, sorry.
And then the best part was you said to me, "Oh, but I had to respond." I'm like, I just finished telling you that I responded for you.
Listen,
And you
so
still
if
responded.
people want to know, if it comes from the this and that chat, it's not me. Directly.
Directly.
Indirectly, it could be me, right? Depending if the question was addressed to me. But it isn't me answering.
Mm-hmm.
And you will be able to tell because you have a very formal response, I feel, right? Because, like, for example, Sue posted about, oh, this sounds like such a fun place. Your response was, it was definitely a must do. Me, I was like, what place? What did I say?
Yeah,
I
what are
already
you talking
forgot.
about?
I already forgot. Okay. That's me. That's a me response.
Well, it came from your-
You're
it
not
came
going to
from- hold on.
respond that way.
But it came from your account. Listen, I didn't look.
Yeah.
Did you use Auntie K or did you use?
It depends on what I'm signed into. So I know. Sometimes it's going to come
Really?
from my Mia YouTube account. And sometimes
Hold on.
it's going to come from the
Let's
Auntie
see.
K account. Because I know it depends on whatever it is that I was doing last. If I just posted for Auntie K, I'll be signed into Auntie K.
Let's see what. Let's see what.
I'm pretty sure it's Auntie K when I'm signed into right now.
All right, so this one. Okay, so you got. Okay, so one was with Auntie K.
If it was for
Let's
that,
see. Okay, that one was Auntie K.
if it was for that podcast, it'll all be the same. It'll be on
'cause you
different
were-
ones. Because I just went down the line and I just responded to
Oh,
everything.
okay, yeah. Okay, so this entire one was
Yes.
Auntie K. So
But
the
there's other
previous
ones.
The
I
previous
made-
one was Mia.
Oh, you see that?
Yeah. And then this one,
It just depends on. But that's my account.
this one.
And that will be a response from mine.
And then look, you jumped back to Auntie K.
Again,
that one.
depending on where I'm signed in. So the thing is that you are the one who has access to the this and that chat for everything, for Instagram, for everything else, right? So I'm never going to be able to log in and answer for that. And
Which you should, though.
how?
You just sign up. The same thing that like I need to do. I need to put Auntie K on my phone. So okay, so our computer here in the library has access to all of them, right? And then on your phone you have Auntie K, and I have the this and that chat on my phone. But I should have Auntie K on my phone also because I help you with some stuff on there too, and you should have the this and that chat on yours too, so that you can answer from there.
But then
So
what's
we'll make
going to
that
happen?
happen.
No. We should not make that happen.
Why not?
I'll tell you why. Because you will have gone and said, okay, oh, gee, thanks. That was an awesome answer. And then I will come right behind you and say,
Oh, I know what we should
what
do.
are you talking about?
Hold on,
Can you
hold on.
explain? And then people are going to be confused. Like, wait, you just thanked me. And now you're asking me a question because I don't read the responses. I just go right away,
And just
read the
answer?
question,
Okay.
and I answer.
So this is what we need to do. So we'll both have access, and then I'll write a little P
Too bad we...
with my answer, and then you put a K with your answer.
No, that's terrible.
Why?
Too bad we can't have, like, for it to say
Where it's coming from?
where it's coming from,
Well, we'd have to write it in.
I guess. But anyway, that's a mess.
Yeah.
So if people are getting second responses from another account,
All it
it's
is
from me.
All
now.
it is, it's us. It's us.
I'm sorry if I caused confusion.
So everything that we talked about, all the stuff that we just talked about, all to say that what you're getting from us is really us. We're not trying to sugarcoat or keep up with the Joneses in the social media world. It is us who you're getting. Yes?
And when we had that conversation yesterday about what place is she talking about that was so amazing, right? That's not the first time that happens. People will leave comments and say, oh my goodness, that little bit at the end had me dying. Well, what bit at the end? What are you talking about? Like, I need people to say,
Well, because you don't listen to
tag
the podcast.
the time though. That
Yeah,
way
no.
I can
We
go
should-
and timestamp, click on the timestamp and see.
Yeah, be better.
Yeah, do better,
Be better.
chat.
Like,
please.
come on.
Okay,
If you're
I need
gonna
help.
engage, if you're gonna engage with us,
Oh, Leah's really good about that.
do a better job. Well,
She
not
is,
lately.
no, poor thing. She has her hands full. But yeah, I need the help.
She needs to
because,
teach Wyatt how to respond.
Listen,
and
she
just
needs
have him
Nene
do it.
to do that.
Bro,
That'd be
could
so
you
funny.
imagine?
Oh my god, a yawn.
Yeah.
I've never had a yawn on
Could
the
you
chat
imagine?
before.
Yeah, you did.
Did I?
We have an episode that is all yawns.
Stop it.
You don't remember this?
At all.
Okay, so it's it's
Also, can I say that these recordings are for me when I get Alzheimer's? So
you're
you
gonna
can
be like,
play it.
who is this crazy lady?
I'm not gonna be like, that's me.
Who's this nutcase? So we have an episode.
Oh, you said the
Back-
word yawn, and now it's gonna begin again.
I want to say it was right at the beginning.
So prior to video.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is when we were recording.
Okay. I'm sort of getting a little bit of a
Hold on.
memory of being in the movie room and there being a lot of yawning going on.
Yes.
Okay. I'm getting that.
Okay, hold on.
But moving along.
The one with all the yawns, I think, is what it was called.
For real?
Yes.
And yeah, I come up with these names, and then I forget. Here's the thing. Oh, this is something we were going to
We
talk
had
about.
one that was called "This Is Yak."
You remember that? I do remember that.
You remember that
Because
one?
I told you to show us how a yak sounded.
I did that on recording. God bless. Thank God
And
it wasn't
I
video.
want to say, if I'm not mistaken, that recording, I laughed so much. I don't think I've laughed that hard. Except when I cried black tears recently. But that one was so hilarious. The Derriere clip is one of my favorites.
Yes.
I love that. But can I have you present?
Yeah. Hold on. Look at we have some good titles. Sorry.
I wonder what people think about that.
About what?
About the fact that our titles normally get formed as we're speaking. something happens that's where it is. Not you too. Oh no, and it's the same eye. Does it feel like Tabasco's in your eye?
No. Oh my God. How can I see out of these things? I don't know if you can see how bad they are.
Bro, I can see from here.
They are horrible. I don't think I had anything in my eye.
How
I think
about now, dear?
I think it's time for some new glasses. Which we went to yesterday.
Oh my God, that's true.
Hold on,
Oh
let's
God.
Let's see if this is any better.
You probably just smudged them.
I probably did.
Ugh, they look
I know I have the thing here somewhere.
somewhere, but we're not going to do that right now. Better?
It's a little bit better.
I love,
Help is on
I
the
love-
way,
I
dear.
love how something was in your eye bothering you. The glasses were not bothering you. And the moment the glasses come off and
now-
you see them, you're
now
like,
it's bothering me.
whoa.
Where is that?
We need to get some soap and wash those out.
I have the little thing here somewhere.
It's not anywhere that I see it,
Okay.
honey. All right, so
Help is on the way, dear.
if people don't know that prior movie quote, My Cousin Vinny, I would say that probably as a couple, one of our favorite movies.
I think it's one that we. Well, are you sure about them 5 minutes? Come from that movie too.
Yeah, but not really.
Explain this to me.
Okay, when I tell you that,
Where are you getting it from?
oh my God.
It's from that movie.
No, yes. No, I know. You
Any self-respecting
No,
Southerner.
no, I know. But you know, I know he's an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And they've imposed him on different videos saying, "You sure about that?"
Okay, but are you sure about that?
Yes.
That's not you sure about them 5
In
minutes.
my mind, when I'm telling you, "Are you sure about those 5 minutes?"
You sure about that?
That's what I'm hearing in my mind. And I'm hearing him say, "Are you sure about those 5 minutes?"
Mm-mm.
And he doesn't say that.
Nope.
I just had that realization. I've been mixing the two.
Fantastic.
Right now that I said, how many fingers? Yeah. Bro.
How about now, dear? Okay, where were we?
Mrs. Riley and only Mrs. Riley. That's such a good movie. So we were discussing yesterday, if you were in a position to change policy in America, what is one law that you would pass or a new law that you would enact or something that you would ban? What
When
is
you ask
one
these questions,
thing?
this is not fair.
Why?
I don't have time to think about this. You've had 2 days to think about this.
Because you're supposed to say whatever comes to your mind right away. You're not supposed to have a prepared answer. When I thought about this question, I want you to understand how my mind works. When I'm just randomly having
Pause.
thoughts.
Pause.
Uh-huh.
Right off the bat, you're on the wrong foot.
What do you mean?
You want me to understand how your mind works.
We're going to give the chat you and the chat right now is going to get a little insight into how my brain works. So I'm minding my own business, just, enjoying the day. And all of a sudden, a would you rather pops into my head. It's a question to myself. Would you rather, lose your arms or your legs? And immediately, I'm like, my legs. I'd rather lose my legs. I had no time to think about it. I had to immediately come up with an answer. And now I'm excited about that question. So now I bring it to you. And I'm
Okay.
like,
Give me yours first.
okay. Dang it. That's not how it was supposed to go.
Well, that's how it's going to go.
It's killed it already.
Go.
I wanted to hear your political answer.
Bro, I don't have one. You got to give me a minute.
Okay, we're going to give you a
I will
minute.
give you an
We're
answer.
going to give you a minute. It's so much so, we're going to pause and come back to it.
No.
We're not going to give you a minute. We're just going to go and
We
talk
are
about
not.
something else real quick.
We are not doing this. You are giving your answer.
That
and then
sucks.
at some point, I'm thinking about it.
I don't even care anymore. That's the problem. My mind, this is another way my mind works. I see the event of things, how they're going to unfold. I'm going to say this, you're going to say that, I'm going to laugh, then I'm going to say this, and then you're going to give me that look.
Bro,
and
the question I can't answer.
What do you mean?
Because I'm going to create enemies.
Why? It's your answer.
I know, but people there's people that are not going to agree with me.
Okay. That's all part of the fun.
I don't know if I want to answer the question, though.
Bro.
Yeah.
If you feel like it's that terrible.
No, it's not terrible. I just think it's
Controversial.
controversial. Should I just throw it out there?
No.
I have an answer.
Go.
That's a heavy one. Do I throw it out there?
Throw it out there.
I feel, bro, this is I'm dancing here.
You sure about that?
You're throwing me out to
I left you with enough pause that you can go back and reshoot from there.
No.
And no one will know what was said.
No.
And this will be our secret.
No. I'm going to pass.
Can you give me a softball answer then?
No.
Bro.
No.
This is a political thing.
Can I text it to you?
No.
No, I'm going to text. Hold on. I'm going to text it to you. And then you're going to tell me if I if I should share it or I should not.
No, this is already derailed where I was going.
Hold on.
Bro, just 2 words. That's it. Fast. Fast.
That's what I would do.
Why is that a bad thing?
Because I think it could be taken the wrong way. I'll say it.
And I also think that there could be a misunderstanding of how it works.
That's what I'm saying.
See? So, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it already exists and you don't know.
That's the problem, though.
Exactly.
There's so much of it is baloney that it's all foo-foo and like.
So your policy would be about welfare. See, there's a way for you to say it in which it's not controversial at all.
Yeah.
It's about welfare and
But
how,
it can be okay.
and how
All right, so
or
I'm gonna,
who is
listen,
eligible.
Since you threw me out there,
I'm just saying, you made it. I was
Thanks.
trying to think.
thanks.
What in the world could you be thinking about that was going to be like, ugh,
Because it can be taken as a racist remark.
why?
Because it
Do
can
you
be
know
taken as
that
a racist remark.
there are people from every culture
Absolutely.
and every
100%.
background that's on welfare?
100%. But it can be taken as a racist remark.
I don't think so.
Yes. And see, here's the thing. So,
It's time to replace that computer, FYI.
I think so. No, like immediately.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be recording and we're not going to have. Okay, so
And it's
here's
just a very small answer. Don't get super
no.
involved.
Hold on, but the thing is here's a glimpse into how I think.
Okay.
Okay, so it's going to be considered some sort of down the line racist remark.
Bro, people throw around the word racist without even understanding what it
I
means.
understand that.
So it is
But
not
the
racist.
problem. Okay, but it could be taken that way because of oh no, they're in a good position, so they don't understand what it is like to need welfare, blah blah blah, and all this kind of stuff. No,
But
I'm
we
sorry.
lived
We
on
lived
government
it.
cheese as well.
We did it.
So we did it as
and we
well.
busted our ass to get to where we're at. Okay, and to be able to not live rich, okay, but not have to
But not live
depend.
poor either.
not live poor either. But I'm saying not have to not. I don't
You
have
missed.
enough. I don't have enough bottles to throw at you sometimes. One of the bloopers at the beginning where we couldn't, okay, was the fact that I have the desire to hit you with a lightsaber.
Yes. What
Okay.
is that about? In my life, I've never wanted to hit you with anything.
You are a
not even
liar.
a sock.
Liar.
Oh, I love how you're sitting in God position right
You
now.
are a liar. You're a liar. You cannot tell me that you have never had the desire to hit me
To
with something.
smack you on the head, to hit you with anything.
Never?
Ever, ever, ever.
Bro, you're such a liar.
Bro, but
You're
how
lying.
would you even
You're
say
lying.
How would you even
You-
say that? You are the one who is so big on saying your brain and my brain work differently. We think differently. We
Bro, our
process it.
brain, absolutely.
So how is it
You're a liar.
impossible?
You're a liar.
Why?
There's no way at all that you can tell me that you have never had a desire to hit me.
But why is that so hard to believe?
Because human nature gives way to the desire to make someone else
it
feel
doesn't.
pain.
Listen, I want
in
to free you from
situations
something.
where
Hold
you're
on.
just like,
Hold on. I think this is
You've never wanted to
important
just-
for this to be recorded as evidence. Okay. I want to say to you, it doesn't make you a bad person for wanting to hit me sometimes.
have you ever?
Okay.
Have you ever?
Because I understand
Hold on,
what you're saying. There's
Have
times
you,
where
I'm
I've
not saying
wanted.
you're the bad person. Oh,
Huh?
keep going.
I'm saying that there's times where I have been talking to someone who's an absolute
no,
moron.
me.
No, an absolute moron. Okay. And I have thought about how a chair to the face would look really, really great on them.
When you-
Okay. I
when
have
you have
never
said-
had that thought about you.
When
Ever in my life have I had that thought about you.
when you have said, there's always a third option.
Yeah.
You've never had that third option for me.
No.
Well, I've had that third option for you.
But it doesn't. I get that because I've had that for other people, but it's not everyone
You're
that
gonna
I've
tell
had
me
that.
that you have never ever wanted to throw me out of the car while we're driving.
No,
Bro, I've dreamt of opening the door and just
listen. I don't think. I'm trying to think right now. I don't think I have ever even like, oh, I wish that he'd fall from there.
no.
No, I have never wished ill on you like that. Now,
Hold
now,
on, but I'm not wishing ill.
have I wished for a cop to pull you over? Oh, yes. I have sat there and I have said, God, please let there be a hidden state trooper here
What
and
bitch.
let him come over here and say, sir, do you know why I pulled you over? And I'm going to peek my head over and I'm going to say,
I
if
will
he
say-
doesn't, I do, sir.
I will say it
I
again.
do.
Hold on.
And then he's going to look at you and he's going to be
I
like,
will say
I
this
feel
again.
so sorry for
Hold
you,
on.
young man.
Hold on. I will say this again because I said it under my breath and I want you to hear it. What a bitch.
Wow.
Okay.
You can't say that.
I
It's
can.
a family chat.
I can, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay? That is worse than wishing murder on me.
What are you talking about?
To have the cops pull me over
Sometimes it is
to
necessary.
get a ticket?
Well, maybe he has mercy on you.
Bro, I know. I'd rather you take a knife to my back.
Bro, that's an honest thought that I've had.
That's horrible.
Okay. But I would think that, like, for something bad happening to you, that's it.
No.
Or maybe we've been, like, going back and forth about who's right and who's wrong about this. And maybe I'm like, ooh, I hope that this person, like, proves me right. That's the extent of my my feelings
You
for that.
you need to go and self-reflect.
I feel like you need to self-reflect.
Oh no, I'm putting all my stuff out there
Because-
I'm not hiding any of it. You
No, you
are
done
the
called
one-
me a liar.
You are.
How can that be true?
In this specific situation that we are discussing right now, you're a liar.
Bro, but how can you say that?
Because I know.
I feel like we're gonna get stuck in this now, and we need to get. So I'm gonna leave that marinating. Okay.
Whoa, wait.
Yeah.
What's yours?
I'm gonna say.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm gonna leave that marinating, and now I'm gonna go say.
Wait, but I never even said mine.
Oh, okay. Continue.
I have to finish because otherwise it stays.
But this wasn't a soapbox moment. Just remember,
It's not
okay?
so.
I'm just saying it was just super. It was
I only
supposed to be
have-
super fast.
I only have a bottle that's full now, so that one's gonna hurt. Okay. So I was saying that I feel like it should the policy that I would put it was that you have to prove that you have some sort of income to be able to get.
Bro, I think that already exists.
More
And I'll say
then.
why. I'll say why. Because our kids, when they were first living out on their own, and they were students and they were struggling,
but they showed-
they applied for welfare, and they were told that in order for their food stamp, it was just for food stamps. It wasn't even for living expenses or anything like that, right? It was for your EBT card. They had to prove that they had an income of a certain amount to be eligible. Zero was not an option.
Yeah.
So
And still,
listen, the system is broken because there's
Broken.
loopholes and all that stuff. Yes, but
What's yours?
I'm glad that that's your thing. So my thing would be a mandatory 4-day work week. And it would
How could
have
they
to be
enforce that?
honored. It would have to be on. It would be illegal. Are there not child labor laws that if
Do you know
someone
how
is
many
found
people, you know how many people
doing that, it's illegal?
who is it that does the 4-day work week?
Because let me tell you, having 3 days for your weekend is just what the body and soul needs to recuperate and go back to work. It's the perfect amount of time. 4 days off would be too much. 3 days is enough for you to be like, okay, I have deeply inhaled.
Oh, now that you just said that, I just saw a video of this company here in the United States that changed to a 4-day work week. Okay? But part of changing to a 4-day work week was telling its employees that there are no more vacation days and there's no more time off request within those 4 days. But check this out. If you need a week off because you're going to go take a vacation, right? You only need 4 days to be able to do that. So what does he do? He says, you can take your week off, not work those 4 days, but you owe me 4 Fridays. So for the next 4 afterwards, you're coming into the office and you're working those 4 Fridays. You're getting less work done because the office is not open, but you're able to do a lot of extra stuff that you wouldn't get to do during the week. So if you were to take a week of vacation, right, you would just need to come in and work 4 Fridays in a row. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he said that the production in his business increased by over 30% by doing that. And he says barely anyone takes the extra time off because they don't want to work on Friday. So what they do is that they just plan shorter vacations and they leave Thursday evening, have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then what they do is maybe they take Monday off and then come work that Friday. So they still have a 4-day work week. They just put the day off on the earlier day. And he says that the production, they come in and they work harder, and he is actually making more money as a business owner than what he was before.
So I remember doing this with the kids when we were schooling them at home, and having them have Fridays off. And it was this is the amount of work that we need to get done in the week, right? I don't want to do school on Fridays. You don't want to do school on Fridays. So it's going to be a little bit longer Monday through Thursday, but you get to have Friday off. And I felt like it was something that was so beneficial for them to have that to look forward to, right? And it was an adjustment when they did go to public school to have to go. I remember them saying 5 days is so long. It feels forever, right? So, and it's funny because I'm very much against the establishment that is school right now. I think that there are some places that are doing school very, very well, and it's mostly rural areas that have a different approach to schooling, all right, where they're focusing more on what's necessary for the child to excel as a contributing member to society, rather than you have to come to school to get attendance and all day long we're going to watch a movie. Why? Why am I going to send my kid to school?
You know how many times we did that in school? I went to public school all throughout. And I remember you would know, because when you'd come into homeroom, homeroom would have the cart with the TV on it. So they would roll it in. It was not like today. Now in every single classroom, there's a flat screen TV that's up on the wall. But for us, it would be like a tall rolling cart with a TV on top and the VCR or DVD player or laser disc at some point that was in the bottom, and it would come in, and you knew that day you weren't leaving homeroom. You knew that you were going to sit there the entire day. And then what ended up happening is they would shut down the lights, and it would be 3 movies that we would watch throughout the entire day. And half the time people were head down on the table. They were either sleeping, people were catching up on homework. We would play the ruler game or the pencil game. There was stuff that we were doing where we were just wasting time. And then in the afternoon, after lunch, they'd be like, all right, we're going to go sit out in the bleachers. And then there'd just be this pile of people just sitting out in the bleacher. Mind you, we were in a small school, so we can all go out there at the same time. And people were like playing soccer or whatever was going on. For me, I didn't mind it during baseball season because we would, the entire baseball team would go to the baseball field. We'd already change into our practice gear, and we'd go do batting practice or, do our warm-ups or any of that kind of stuff, because then that would actually give us a shorter after-school practice, and we'd be able to go home. But goodness, the amount of time that we wasted.
So here's my thought,
days.
right? There's a lot of parents out there who feel like, well, I can't have my kids home alone. I get that, right? That's fair. Here's the thing. There's still 2 months out of the year where your kids are home from summer break, right? But if we were to shorten up the school week, and those movie days were now just 4 days of school, and that movie day's on Friday or on a Monday, right? I feel like it would be better for the kids overall. And let's say that they're like, well, no, we're trying to do the parents a favor by watching your kids while you're at work. Then give the parents an option to opt out. I opted out without that option, and then I got called to the office. This was the best part, because I got called to say, your child has been absent for the maximum allowed in a month. What's going on? And I would have to say that was my thing, right? If they're not doing anything, why do they have to be here? Why? There's so many other things they can be doing at home, right? But it was like, I've never understood why the school was so, no, they have to be here. because they have a quota of teaching days that they're supposed to fill, but you're
Well,
not
teach.
teaching my child.
Yeah, if you're going to do it, teach.
So if you have to do that, then I should have the right to keep my child at home that day. And there were times where the kids would be like, please, Mom, can I stay home on Monday? And I was like, well, what do you have going on Monday? And they'd be like, it's this, it's a substitute, or it's nothing because it's the end of the period and all this stuff. And I'd be like, stay home.
We had...
And guess what? They graduated. And they
I
were not.
have a
They were
different... I have a different idea.
okay.
I feel like the school day should be shorter.
Again,
I feel that if you're going to keep the 5 days, right? School should be from 10 to 2 o'clock, 10 to 2:30.
you know that they've done tests about this, and the kids who come in later are more alert.
Bro, these kids... Listen, I leave the house every single morning, 5:45, 6 o'clock in the morning, when I'm running a little bit late. And the buses are already with kids in them at that time. School doesn't start for another hour and a half. These kids aren't paying attention. You know? There's a video of this mom who said that the school kept on sending letters to her saying that her kids are falling asleep. And she goes, my kids have to leave the house at 5 o'clock in the morning to get to the school because it's an hour and 45 minutes on the bus to be able to pick up all the kids because they live in a rural area. It takes an hour and 45 minutes just to get to the school. And then an hour and 45 minutes to get back. I mean, goodness, like that's ridiculous to be putting these kids through this. Yeah, of course they're going to be falling asleep, you know? And it's like, she made a funny video about it. She gave the kids, she had the kids sitting down at breakfast eating cereal and drinking Monsters. It was just a video that she was just making fun of it. She was, this is what the school wants us to do. But that's what the school wants you to do. They want you to send these kids all hyped up, you know, going in there, you know, and then they're, you know, quickly they say, oh no, it's a learning disability, or oh no, they have ADHD, or no, they don't. Do they have a different way that they need to learn? Yes, absolutely. But that's what the teacher's there for, you know. But
Well,
when you
and
chalk
also
these,
to be
when you
fair
fill
to the
these,
teachers-
when you fill these classes up with 45 or 50 kids,
That's it.
you can't teach them the way you're
can't.
supposed
and
to.
not only that, a lot of them, I feel like their spirit has been killed.
But that's what I'm trying to say.
You have to follow this specific thing, and they're not allowed to do the way that they would feel like, hey, if I were allowed to teach my classroom this way, it would do better. No, because you have to follow.
I go
this.
back to when Mike was at home, and there were days, you know, if I was off during the week or whatever, and school was going on and he was doing math, the only way that he could do math was running around the table. Literally running around the table. He was jogging around the table.
And not because we would put him to.
No. We're like, okay, what do you need? He's like, I gotta get moving. He's like, choom, choom, choom. And you're like, 12 times 12. Choom, choom, 144. Choom, choom. Like, you know, it was like, there was this consistent movement. And to me, I'd be like, bro, this kid's gonna drive me crazy. But you know what? He had a better understanding of what he was doing. You can't do that in the classroom. Imagine Michael sitting down at a desk having to learn how to do multiplication.
Honey, you forget that the reason that we went home and we said we're going to do it on one salary and I'm going to homeschool the kids,
Right, because it
is
was a
because
disaster.
he was being sent to the office every day at school. He was being kept from recess because he was falling out of his chair in class, playing, you know, drawing instead of doing something. But it's because that was not a conducive learning environment for him, right? And then this is what I was trying to say before, is that not only did they finish school, right? But they finished school with honors. It's not that they were in, oh, you know, we've got to do
Right.
remedial classes in summer school
Just
to catch
enough to
them
get 'em
up.
out, yeah.
No, okay? They knew a lot more than they were being taught in school. So when I say that, like, I'm against the school establishment, it's what, I don't know if to call it government wide schooling. I don't know what it is because some or private schools are not doing any better either. But my thing is, there's too much homework that is irrelevant.
What can we talk about that? Why are you sending kids home?
Why?
Like,
You think
man,
that because you send him home with a page full of math problems to do, he's somehow going to know that better tomorrow?
I
after you
remember
spent
coming
an hour?
home from school, and the moment you came home from school, the backpack was thrown through the door. And I'd be in my school clothes outside. And the way I knew to come inside was because we had a light post at the corner of our house. And that was my get home. And we were playing basketball with the kids in the corner. We were
You didn't
riding
have
bike.
schoolwork.
We were no. There was nothing that we were doing afterwards. Whenever I had something that I had to do afterwards was because it was
Maybe a project.
my project, my science, my threefold, board, like that kind of stuff. That's understood. You've got to do that stuff at home because you're doing an experiment. You got to put the bean inside the little thing and watch it grow and take the picture. And, those are things that happened, right? But that wasn't every single day. And I remember so many times that I'd come home, sit down to eat, be falling asleep at the table, and I'd go right to bed, wake up the next morning, and go to school. It felt like you were taking in a lot more information. But I also remember that those classrooms weren't, overstacked with kids. Mm-hmm. The school that we went to in the Keys, we weren't, overpopulated. My class was 134 kids that graduated, and I looked it up a couple years back because I was looking at, I wanted to see what the school looked like because they did a lot of upgrades and stuff to the school. So I went online. The graduating class was now at like 400 and something. The school didn't grow that big. Where are they putting these kids?
Wow.
So they had a map of kind of like the way it was set up. So in the gymnasium, they had classes that were in the gymnasium that were being given in the gymnasium. They had barrier walls that were being put up. So now it's these false classrooms, and they had portables that were sitting in the outside, and they had, like you're just piling people on top of people on top of people on top of people, and there's no way that these teachers can do what
the
they
teachers
can
only
do.
now teach, I think, to the ones who are giving them any attention.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who are not paying attention are the ones who get forgotten. And it's not because, I don't think that it's fair to say that it's because the teacher doesn't care. It's because they can't.
They don't have the
care.
resources.
They can't. They are being told as well, you have to meet metrics. You need to make sure that they're passing tests or that they're advancing or that they're something, right? So now you're so focused on, well, let me try my best with at least most of them. And then we can just say, well, those kids, they're troubled. Whatever, right? But it's unfortunate because I feel that it's such a waste. Kids are such sponges at certain ages where if we could create something that's more engaging into their learning, right? Where how when you go to high school, you have electives that you can choose. Mm-hmm. You can go to woodworking class or medicine or something like that, right? That should start from when they're little. Because there's some kids who have a knack for music right when they're little, or drawing or plants or something. And that should be part of their schooling. If they're excelling in something, let them start there. Start fostering a love for this.
How about these kids that have a knack for mechanics?
Right. Trade school should be a thing. That's what high school should be.
Yeah, how about coming out of high school with already a foot in the right direction for some of these kids? You know how much less trouble they would be in? Because these kids, if they had a place to go and do mechanic stuff after school, I promise you they would not. They would not
and
get. And
don't even get me started on what a joke college is. Because unless you're going to college for something that is a pressing need, and let's say even being a lawyer, right? you've got to go through the ringer to get yourself into a good position and a successful position as a lawyer. That moved a lot more than I thought it would.
Oh, he's solid though.
Yeah, he is. But now there's other things that moved. But for you to go into school and have a degree and then be told by different jobs, well, we can't hire you because you don't have experience. You have the degree, but no experience. Well, where am I supposed
because I've just spent 4 years getting a degree
for this so I
Yeah.
can get the experience? It's such
No,
a
and
waste.
then-
And if you could give them, think
and
about
then
this.
all that needs to be paid back because everything is so ridiculous.
I bet you anything. If college worked on a
Hiring.
as long as you put in your work and you graduated and everything, we will get you settled into a job. Whether or not you grow in that job, or that's it. But we are going to get you through the door, or we're going to get you out of here with the experience that you need, that it counts for jobs, right? And if you do not land any of this stuff, right? 50% of your debt is wiped away, let's say. I bet you that a lot of people would not be either charging as much as they are for college, or you would have a lot more people going through and actually making something of themselves because the opportunity is there. Didn't you tell me you had a guy who had some PhD in something working?
He had
at
a
Party City?
master's. Yeah, he had a master's in business management, and he was an assistant manager because he couldn't find a job. He went to school for 8 years. For 8 years. And he couldn't find a job. So he had to work retail. That sucks.
That sucks. And then
That
to have to
sucks.
pay it all back with barely anything.
Yep. And our kids are in it right now. Or they have to pay back. And they have not been able to use their degree for anything because it's just non-existent right now.
Especially with AI. You know that they are having us do an AI literacy program at work where we can understand how AI can help us, how it's going to play a part in medicine and all of that stuff. And I was thinking about how right now we're already seeing little bits of this working, right? And a very small way that it's working right now is that you're able to create an appointment through an app, right? And then let's say that your appointment is for Friday at 7 p.m. But you really, really wish that you could have gotten a Tuesday appointment, but it said it was full. You can opt to be notified if someone cancels and there is an appointment now available at Tuesday at any time, and you're like, okay, I'll take it, right? So you go ahead and it pings you and it says, Tuesday appointment available. Would you like it? And you're like, absolutely yes. It cancels your Friday appointment, moves you on the schedule to Tuesday, sends an alert to our office and lets you know this patient has been moved and now they're coming in. Let's say it's Monday, right? Well, you have a glucose monitor that didn't need to be changed until Saturday, right? Those things are extremely expensive. You don't want to throw them away early.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the exam that you're having, it needs to be removed when you come in. And now when you come in on Tuesday, you're told you need to take it off. Oh, but I don't want to because I just put it on.
And you're gonna throw away that
Can
money.
you just put me back on Friday? I'm sorry, your Friday appointment's gone. So now you're not coming Tuesday, or you have to take it off. So we were discussing this because this was an actual thing that happened to us, right? And so now the patient is upset because they've lost their Friday appointment. Their Tuesday appointment can't happen anymore because they don't want to take it off. Now they have to wait until a new one opens up. And it was all done without anyone ever
There was
conversing
never
and
ever had a conversation.
right, because if it had been a person on the other line, they would have said, "Hey, FYI, these are the things," and then you can say, "Oh, wait, let me keep my Friday." So while it's helpful if there is zero consequence to the patient, that all was handled and that was one less thing a person had to do, in those things, there's no way for you to, it's not there yet, right? For you to have that. Another thing that we're having is not on our side, but on the other side of where I work. When they do the registration, it's all done virtually. It's a virtual assistant that takes your information. And it's like when you call and it says, say your date of birth. And then it repeats
Well,
to you, did you say blah, blah, blah?
When I went to the emergency room,
Oh, you did it.
It was a complete. They bring a computer,
A
like a
computer
little
screen.
a little
That's
screen.
it right there.
Comes
We
and
have that on the
yeah.
other side.
And all you do, it says, "Hi, I'm so and so. I'm your AI virtual assistant today. I'm gonna go through some questions." Blah 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 blah. They went right through the question. They said, "Just speak to me like if I'm a normal person." And I went through my entire registration was done without me ever seeing a person.
And
And
of course, this is being praised because now instead of you having one person there who could have been answering the phone or could have been moving you freed a person up, right? And you're not paying them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's all money saved.
However,
You get errors.
you get errors, which cannot ever be avoided.
Nope.
So we're at a crossroads right now.
Okay.
I feel this week because we are mid celebration. We've got a celebration that is behind us and one that is upcoming.
My celebration's tiny though.
Yeah. Why is it always like that, huh?
It's
I
like
don't think you're a person who.
it's because my birthday is on Christmas Day,
Okay.
so you don't really double celebrate.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's my so because my birthday is so close to yours, it's like having my birthday on Christmas.
Was your birthday ever a big deal when you were a single person?
No,
So
it wasn't for you either.
No, but why do I get to have?
Well, this year you wanted we jam packed your schedule,
I know. And we never ever do that.
but it was fun.
What was the most fun? Gone with the Wind. You watched Gone with the. You've got to tell the chat. I was asked for a
Okay.
quick interview on this, so I
We're
just
gonna
need your.
interview style.
I just need your quick thoughts on a movie that you have not watched your entire life. You are the ripe old age of plus 40.
Would you look at the time?
Okay. And
Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to discuss this today.
and
There's
you
just-
finally sat down and watched it with me. Do you know
Look,
how
I have to do
exciting?
I have homework and I have to feed the dog.
Is it just a secret that you liked it?
Must I say?
Is it just a secret? You don't want everyone else
Okay,
to
so
know.
I will
Concede.
concede. And I will concede and say that yes, it was enjoyable.
You laughed a lot more than you thought you were going to.
It was good. It was good. 4 hours though.
Did you? You told me you didn't feel the 4 hours.
Okay.
Don't lie.
I didn't quite feel the 4 hours, but it was still 4 hours. It was a lot.
Although honestly, think about this. What movie that's long feels that long though? In fact, because I'm sorry, you checked Fiddler on the Roof, Sound of Music, they're all long.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you get through them and they're done and you're like, where did my 4 hours go? They're so good. Lord of the Rings,
Hold on.
unless you don't love Lord of the Rings.
Hold on.
I mean, we have seen Lord of the Rings Extended Edition, which is, I want to say 5 hours long.
Fiddler on the Roof is Why would 3 hours and 20 minutes.
All right.
Okay. Sound of Music. Sound of Music is under 3 hours.
Okay.
What else?
And Gone with the Wind is what?
4 hours.
It said 4 hours because I think it said 4
3 hours
hours
and 58 minutes. What's the other one? Oh, you said Lord of the Rings. Lord of
I want to say Lord of the Rings is like the same.
Lord of the Rings is... Why do they make these things so difficult? I put Lord of the Rings runtime.
And, that
And it
leads me
says,
to-
which one? 2 hours and 58 minutes.
wow. It's shorter.
Yes. Everything is shorter.
Wow. Okay.
4
So,
hours. is
last story
4
before we go.
is 4 hours. But yes, it was good. It was enjoyable. I thought, think they did a really good job of splitting it in a way where there was like these like storylines that kind of like fit together. So it didn't feel like it was like super, super long. But yes.
Did you
it
like
was-
the ending?
No. No, I thought it was stupid. But frankly, my dear, I just don't give a damn.
Now you're allowed to
Now I'm
use
allowed to
it.
say it.
Now you're allowed to say it.
Favorite character? Mammy.
I told you you were gonna love
100%.
Mammy.
100%.
I told you.
100%.
Okay, so
All right.
speaking of which, it's just something that you did right now that reminded me where you were looking through to find something. Yesterday, we went to our sushi place, and because we had Peter Pan afterwards, that was a drive much further than where we were. I was trying for us to be efficient and running like a tight ship. We have gone there several times. Every time we go, they say, "Do you have a reservation?" And we say no. It gets really packed. Thankfully, because we're just a table of two, we've never really waited more than 10 minutes. Okay. But later on a Saturday, I don't think you can get a seat in there. So we were there early.
We
I
kind of
thought
we do a little bit of early bird stuff.
it's
because-
much better because
yeah.
all of our shows usually are later, and I don't like to eat. We don't like to eat
Not
after
10
the
o'clock?
show.
No.
No. So I decide, let me help out. Let me call them and put our name down, and that way we know we're going to be seated right away, just in case. So I call, and when I looked for the restaurant, I see where's the Doral location. I look at the Doral location. I call that location. I speak to someone. I tell them what time we were going to be there, the name it's going to be under, and I gave them my phone number because I was afraid they were going to text you like, "We've received your thing," and you were napping because we were trying to take a quick little nap before leaving because we had a
'cause
late night.
We had the show, and then we wanted to come home and finish UFC.
Right,
We had
and
the
then
baseball
we had the
game.
game,
That
and
was
it was going to be 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah,
Night.
we were like,
Okay?
we're gonna bring the other TV from the guest room and like set up a second TV so we can watch the fights and see the game. And,
We've done that.
Yeah.
We've done that. And I didn't want it to ping and wake you, so I said put it under my name. Mind you, because I was getting ready, I didn't even really realize that I didn't get a text message from. So when we take off, we're running a little bit later than we expected to be because you were really deep into that nap. And it was like,
was a good nap.
whoopsie. So
And then to get up was impossible.
that's terrible when that happens. And then to be in a rush. I feel
Well,
like that's
you woke me up. Okay, so I got up
because your alarm went off.
because my alarm went off, and then as I was like stretching and kind of moving, and I got
And then I
knocked
came back out and I
again.
was like, "Hey, you told me we need to leave at a certain time, and it's
Yeah,
like
it was
10 minutes.
10 minutes from now, yeah.
right?" And so then it was like, "Oh, dang! All right." So when
And
we finally
then-
leave,
and then you got dressed. You had shown me what you were gonna go in, and you changed it.
I had shown you both.
Yes, but we had decided you were going with one, and I had an idea, and then I was like, I always like to kind of match a little bit, and then I had a diva moment where I could
It's
not.
called a bad hair day.
was-
Everyone understands when you say
Bro,
I had a bad
could
hair day.
I could not get together something to wear that I was happy with, and I'd left, sitting in the car, telling you this story of me just being upset at the fact that nothing that I could find I wasn't happy. It just didn't work.
Yeah, it was a bad hair day.
It just did not work for me. Anyways, go ahead.
So then I think, we should call this place and let them know we're running late. Not so that they can hold our reservation, right? But at least they know and they can cancel it. And when we show up, we just show up, right? But they're so kind. And they're like, don't you worry.
No problem.
That's fine. 15 minutes.
We're waiting here for you
we
to
are
receive you,
waiting
and we're gonna.
here
You're royalty.
For here.
You're royalty.
Exactly. Okay. Now, I want to go back and I want to say that when I made the reservation, for the life of me, that lady could not get your name correct.
My name.
Your name. Because I always like to put it under your name since you're the one who checks us in and all that stuff.
Beater.
No.
Beater?
I spelled it. Letter by letter.
Better.
And then she would repeat it back to me. And it was M-E. And I was like, no, not M-P. Like Paul.
Better.
Tall? No, not tall. Paul. Ball? So now we're not even at Peter. Okay. Now we're going a completely. And I would be like, P. E. T. And then she'd read it back. And it was like T-E-M-R. Timber. She called you Timber at one point. Okay.
I would have been like, yeah, timber.
So we finally get to the phone number. And she starts repeating back the phone number. And I'm like, no. This is numbers, bro. It's numbers. So when I didn't get the text that I thought about it later.
Somebody did.
I was thinking she probably wrote my number down wrong. Whatever, right? But when we call and they're like, okay. But then you and I are like looking at each other because the sushi place that we go to is called Soya. S-O-Y-A. Soya. Okay? But this place, then when they answered the phone, they said Sokaya. And the way that soya is spelled, if you think
Right.
about it,
The
right?
Y.
Could it be
the
a
Y
K?
is just a little bit of a weird.
You know?
You know.
And we're thinking it is a
And
fusion
it's-
of Japanese
mhm,
and
it's a-
Peruvian.
right.
And we're like, have we been mispronouncing it this whole time? Like, it isn't soya, and we've been saying soya. I've been telling people, you've got to go try out this place, soya. And it's Sokaya. Wow. Like, it's just how embarrassing for us that we have not been pronouncing this correctly, right? Whatever. We pull in right on schedule, okay? And we walk in, and the manager, he's always there. The floor manager's always up front with the hostess, right? And we're like, oh, we have a reservation. They're like, ooh, a reservation. They open up their giant book, right? And I'm like, first time that we have a reservation,
And it's old style, like it's written.
Oh, yeah. It's very fine dining
It's
here,
not.
okay?
Yeah, it's not. It's not an iPad.
And she's like, and the name? And I said, Peter. And she goes, and the phone number? And in my mind, I'm already thinking,
What a disaster.
this girl, she did not write my phone number correctly, right? So I give my phone number, and she goes, can I see the text that you received? And I'm thinking, of course. She would write my number down wrong, and now I don't have a text message, right? So she's like, we have tables, but I don't see you here.
Yeah, I just want to check. That way, if
Did
if we did something wrong, that way we can be
Yeah.
better for it.
Right.
We wouldn't want you to get here and not have your reservation.
Right. So I pull out my phone and I'm like, this is the number. Oh, because I said, is there a Barbara here? I said that
Yeah.
because the lady who had taken my call before. And she's like, no Barbara. And I'm like, of course there's no Barbara here, right? And so I show her the phone number. I'm like, this is the phone number I called. Mind you, they do have other locations, right? So I'm thinking maybe I just called a different location, but I know I hit
Well,
Doral.
Soya doesn't.
Oh, Soya doesn't. Okay, so I thought they did, and I was thinking, I know I hit Doral, right? And she looks and she's like, no, that's not our phone number. And I was like, okay, whoa.
And you're like, where did I call?
Where did I make a reservation?
And then I was like, that's when I jumped in and I was like, do you guys pronounce it Sokai? And she goes, oh, Sokai. No, that's down the street. It's like 3 miles down the road. And we're like, what?
Oh
You're like,
my
yeah, that's
gosh.
another restaurant. And at this point, we're like, this is hilarious.
And now we understood we have not been mispronouncing the name. And me, in an attempt to be helpful, made a reservation a completely different place.
Yeah, and you were
We
like,
laughed about
should
it
we? You're
so-
like, should we call them and cancel it? And I'm like, those people don't even know we're coming.
I don't, obviously. I never got a text.
Well, we don't- yeah.
Somebody else was getting called, and they were like,
Yeah.
you called, and
Those
you
people,
said
those people were like, they
we're
said
gonna be
3:45, and they're like, the restaurant's empty. Like, we're gonna have people, and nobody ever
Fire
showed
in
up.
the kitchen. But to be fair, it is a very fine dining establishment, that place that we call. They have multiple
Yeah.
locations, and
We'll have to
and-
try it out one day, because you saw the menu and you said there was stuff on there that you liked.
well, bro, that's the problem. I had seen the appetizer menu and I was like, oh yeah, we've had this before. Because they have a lot of the same thing.
The same stuff.
Croquettes and all.
Well, it's
It's the same.
Peru-
It's
it's a
Peruvian,
Peruvian-
Japanese thing. But there were other things that they had that I was like, oh, I've never seen this before. We're going to look at the appetizers differently this time. So that was funny.
Yeah.
It was a thing that would only happen to me. But
and I'm used to it.
alas, your birthday is coming. Mine is ending. Yours is coming.
Well, you didn't even say everything you did.
I think we said it on the last one, didn't we?
We had a comedian,
Our-
a magician comedian.
The magician
to start
comedian was
hilarious.
Yes, and it was, I did not know how comedy and magic was going to blend.
It blended very well.
I understand now what a magic comedy show is now.
Well, it was a chock full weekend. So we ended work on Thursday, going to the comedian magician that night. Then we had Gone with the Wind, and we had Italian, which we had been looking forward to for a long time to go to this restaurant. Then on Saturday we had Peter Pan and sushi.
What did you think about Peter Pan?
Was amazing.
Our last
there was
one
some
was
stuff. There was some stuff on
the
there that was
visuals.
pretty incredible. And then here we are on Sunday getting ready to go watch some baseball and
just
relax
relax.
because it's been very, very chock full. Oh, and we had a little quick jump into the pool yesterday because it was so hot.
And I
that
want to
that
say,
set us up for that nice nap because the sun out there. We were out there for half an hour, and it killed us.
and I
It
want to
killed us.
say, I mean, you had a huge role in planning all of this for me this weekend, to the point where you were like, there's a surprise, you've got to take Friday off, and you planned all the things. Like, you could have taken me away somewhere, and we could have been anywhere, and it could have been a weekend. It would have been great. We would have done something. It would have been nice, whatever, right? But the things that you planned were all things that you knew I loved.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like every day there was something new we were going to do. And
It was good.
it was
good.
beautiful.
It all
was
worked out.
beautiful. I know that my sister Mary, who made my birthday cake, right? She had told me, right, that, oh my gosh, like what? I think in her mind, whatever she discussed with you, there was some sort of imagination that you were whisking me away to Paris or something. I don't know. But it was perfect. Everything
It was
that
good.
we did.
Everything worked out.
Everything that we did. And the best part was that it was just you and me.
Yep.
Uninterrupted. Beautiful. I loved it.
Yep.
I loved it. I hate parties.
And for my birthday, we are doing a lot less.
Working on a holiday. The world is too cruel. The world
Let's
is
not talk about that
true
because
cruel.
I asked you about you taking it off, and you're like, I can't. I gotta work. And come to find out,
I
you
could,
but you didn't.
but I didn't know. Now I know for next time.
So
But next time you won't care, so.
yeah. Anyways, this I think concludes our episode for today. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should call this one the false start.
The false start. No, what was it? We had said something at the beginning.
What did you say at the beginning?
I don't remember. The false start works.
It's not actually a good one, though. We'll have to think of something better.
We said something at the beginning.
Did you? Maybe you should go back
You
and
did.
listening. What did I say?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
What was I talking about? At least point me in the right direction.
I have no idea. I'll go back and listen to the beginning, and then that'll be the title. That'll be the title.
The lost tapes? Is that what you're thinking?
The lost
about?
tapes.
Bro, but all the lost tapes are lost. This is the blooper reel. That never was.
That never was. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Like, subscribe, share.
I actually
Tell
don't even know
people's-
what this episode is. You know how you
We
tell
just
me
talked.
to write a little blurb? I don't even know what to write.
It's an episode about talking. That's the name. An episode about talking.
Wow. What a novel idea.
This is an episode where oh my goodness.
Breathe deeply.
I think I collapsed the lungs.
Stop. What did you do?
I don't know.
You got a cramp, right?
Yes.
Lift your arms up.
No.
It helps. It helps. It loosens that muscle.
Okay.
Oh, that
Like-
feels really good. You know
Like,
what we should
subscribe, share.
do? Light stretching with our listeners.
Like, subscribe, share. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your sister and your cousins. Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I was thinking about a song.
Got it. See you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Bye now. Bro, do it. That's it.